In this module, we'll connect something you already know well, the DeFi tech stack, to the newer RWA stack. You'll see how smart contracts, oracles, and DeFi rails plug into legal entities, custodians, and off-chain data to move real economic value on-chain. In pure DeFi, you mostly trust math and open-source code. Once a contract is deployed, the main risks are smart contract bugs, governance, and market behavior. Real-world assets add entire new trust layers. Now you're trusting code plus legal entities, regulators, service providers, and ongoing operations. SPVs, custodians, servicers, auditors, and data oracles all become part of your risk surface. RWAs don't replace DeFi rails, they extend them with legal and operational assumptions you have to underwrite. When you invest in an RWA, you're not just holding a token. You're sitting on top of an entire stack. At the base, the blockchain settles ownership. Smart contracts enforce who owns what and how cash flows are routed. Oracles keep that on-chain state synced with real-world data. Custodians and auditors actually hold and verify the assets. And above everything, SPVs and legal agreements define your rights. That wrapper is what makes the token legally and economically meaningful. You can think of an RWA protocol as a pipe that turns messy real-world value into clean on-chain yield. First, you source the asset and perform due diligence. Who's paying? What backs it? How risky is it? Then lawyers and structuring lock those rights into a wrapper investors can trust. Smart contracts mint and distribute the token. DeFi integrations make it usable as collateral or in pools. Finally, cash flows fund yield and redemptions. If any stage breaks, the whole promise breaks. Every RWA deal starts with a brutal reality check. Is this asset actually good credit? You begin by picking the asset type: treasuries, invoices, real estate, private credit. Each has different data, risks, and liquidity. Then comes due diligence, credit analysis, legal title, and verifying every counterparty actually exists and can pay. You also dig through historical cash flows to see how the asset behaved through stress. If this underwriting is sloppy, no smart contract can save the deal. Legal wrappers are the bridge between real-world stuff and your token. A smart contract can't own a building or a treasury bond, so you park those assets in an SPV, trust, or fund, and token holders get a legal claim on that entity. The wrapper also defines who can invest, under which jurisdiction, and based on what disclosures. Think of it as the terms of service plus vault that makes your yield legally enforceable, not just code enforceable. Once the legal structure is defined, it has to be turned into code. The subscription agreement spells out who owns what. The token contract becomes the on-chain mirror of that promise. Most often, this is an ERC20 or ERC4626 vault that encodes mint and burn rules, fee logic, and access control. Whitelist and KYC checks decide who can receive tokens or redeem. The key idea is that each token class maps to a specific legal asset pool, so compliance gates sit directly in the smart contracts. After the RWA token exists, it plugs into the DeFi liquidity layer. Protocols can use it as collateral in lending markets, as a component inside structured vaults, or as a paired asset in AMM pools. That's where most user yield is generated. But unlike a pure ERC20, RWA tokens are wrapped in compliance logic. KYC-gated pools, transfer restrictions, protocol whitelists, Oracle-based checks. They unlock real-world collateral, but with lower composability than permissionless tokens. This brings us to the payoff: cash flows. In the real world, borrowers repay, tenants pay rent, or governments pay coupons. That cash is collected by the issuer, net of fees, and allocated back to the on-chain pool. On-chain, your position grows as yield accrues, either via rebasing, an increasing NAV, or separate claimable rewards. When you exit, tokens are redeemed and effectively burned, and you receive fiat or a fiat-backed stablecoin. Yield isn't magic, it's synchronized cash flow. RWA systems are fundamentally a partnership between code and law. On-chain smart contracts enforce math. They handle minting and burning, transfers, pricing formulas, collateral checks, automated rebalancing, and protocol risk parameters. Off-chain, humans and institutions enforce law, investor contracts, asset custody and valuation, collections and defaults, and KYC or AML. Smart contracts can't seize a building or sue a borrower, so your risk view must always include both sides of this divide. Oracles are the bridge between messy real-world events and deterministic smart contracts. In DeFi, you mostly think about price feeds. For RWAs, the payload is richer and slower. FX rates, benchmark yields, borrower status, portfolio NAV, covenant breaches, even credit events. Sometimes issuers push updates on a schedule. Other times, contracts pull data only when needed, like at refinance or redemption. The hard part isn't just getting data on-chain, it's making it legally reliable, tamper-resistant, and explainable to investors. Proof of reserves is the control that keeps tokenized assets honest. An auditor reviews real-world holdings, then signs an attestation that says, in effect, yes, these assets exist and match what's claimed. That attestation feeds oracles, which update the on-chain token supply, so every token is backed one-to-one. The weak spots are stale oracles, misreporting, or legal disputes. Good designs reduce this by using multiple data sources and strict legal agreements around the attestation process. Now let's see how automation reacts when things go wrong. First, an oracle sends a clear distress signal. Maybe a borrower stops paying, or portfolio NAV drops below a threshold. That signal feeds into a risk engine that encodes your rules. If X happens, then change Y. From there, the protocol can automatically tighten LTVs, pause withdrawals, or shift the pool into workout mode. The power move is standardizing these data feeds so off-chain credit events drive transparent, predictable on-chain reactions. In a well-designed RWA stack, three forces stay in sync. Law enforces claims. Contracts and operations decide who owns what in the real world. Code enforces balances. The blockchain and smart contracts make sure token movements follow those rules exactly. Oracles bridge the gap. They continuously sync real-world data into on-chain state, so there's no silent drift. Your edge as an investor or builder is spotting where this alignment is tight, and avoiding systems where any layer lags or hides information.